What's going on, swim fans? Welcome to day number 3 prelims recap at the U.S. Olympic Trials in Omaha, Nebraska. A lot to be excited about, as always, at this incredible venue that you see behind me. This venue can fit 16,000 people, and we won't see those numbers here because of COVID, but we have the preliminary session to ramp things up, and then we have the final session tonight. Today, we only had 4 events. Currently in the water is actually the women's 1,500-meter freestyle. Let's go ahead event by event. I'll show some of the races, some of the top heats from the preliminary session. Let me know where you guys are joining me from in the live chat in the comments. We kicked things off with the women's 200-meter freestyle. Then we had the men's 200-meter butterfly, the women's 200 individual medley, and then we close things off. We'll join in for the live session of the 1,500-meter freestyle. The first event of the day was the women's 200-meter freestyle. A lot of fast swimmers here. Remember, in this event, the top 6 have the potential to make the Olympic team. Top 2 get to swim the event individually, but of course you have the prelim qualifying, the semifinal, and then you have the final tomorrow night. So the swimmers in today's prelims are trying to qualify for the final, the semifinal, which is tonight, and then we have the big final, which is tomorrow night. Let's go ahead and play some of the heats here from the morning. And here's the start list. Heat number 5. This is heat number 5 in the women's 200-meter freestyle. And here we have, this was heat 5 actually just completed. Leah Smith was the number 1 qualifier out of that heat. She actually set the top time of the morning at a 1:57.52. Let's go ahead and skip into the next heat, which is heat number 6. We have Allison Schmidt, longtime veteran, good friend of Michael Phelps, and she's actually a Michigan native, so shout out to all those joining from Michigan. Hello from Germany, Brazil. We have a very international crowd here. Let me go ahead and put some of these on the screen for you guys, because I think it's pretty spectacular to have an international audience. So we have someone from Germany, Brazil, Cyprus, from the Netherlands, Trinidad and Tobago, USA, Colombia, Czech Republic. Hey, what's going on, guys? David, thanks for joining. Thank you so much. This is very exciting. A few people from Germany and Costa Rica. Very, very exciting. So in the water right now, not in the water, but on the blocks, ready to go. One of the heats from the women's 200-meter freestyle. World record in this event was set back in 2009, 152.98. That's really, really fast. I don't think we're going to see a world record tonight in the semifinal or tomorrow. If you notice that lane right there, I'm getting a phone call. We're going to have to turn this off. Can I call you later? So as you can see, the middle lane is open. So sometimes you'll see swimmers actually sign up for a number of events, and they will choose to scratch the event. And all that means, when you see a swimmer scratching an event, and maybe you see a middle lane open, they've chosen not to swim this event. Now, if you don't do that, you actually cannot compete in any other events in the competition if you just decide to not show up. So you have to declare your intention, and normally the coach will do this. The swimmer doesn't do it themselves. They'll tell the coach, they'll say, you know what, coach, we're not feeling this event. We're going to save our energy for the next event. And then you're going to scratch. The coach will declare the intention to scratch the swimmer from that event, and then they don't have to show up for it, and they can still compete in the events following that event in the same competition. If you don't scratch out of the event and you're a no-show, you actually are disqualified from the rest of the competition, and you can't compete in the rest of the meets. We saw Caleb Dressel do this in the 200 freestyle. He swam the 200 freestyle in the morning, and then he scratched out of the event in the semifinal. So he could have had a top lane in the semifinal, but he electively chose to scratch out of that event. So in the water right now is, I believe, heat number 6 or 7. I think it was heat number 6, actually, of the women's 200-meter freestyle. And as you can see, top swimmer right now, Allison Schmidt, she turns at a 127.46. A lot of history, a lot of challenges that she's gone through over the last few years. So it's great to see her doing so well. Right in the lane next to her is Gabby Duluth. Keep an eye on her. I actually went to the same high school as Gabby Duluth. Went to high school with her sister, who we saw, and her other sister, who we saw last night in the 100 backstroke. We'll see Katie Duluth again tonight in the 100 backstroke. And Allison Schmidt wins the heat with a 157.84. That'll easily move into the top 16 of the semifinal. Very, very exciting at the U.S. Olympic Trials in Omaha, Nebraska. And then in the preliminary session, there was one more heat of the 200 freestyle. And this is where we see Katie Ledecky. Let me make sure you guys can see that. Katie Ledecky in lane 4. Keep an eye on Paige Madden and Katie McLaughlin. We saw these swimmers really step up yesterday. Katie Ledecky made her 3rd Olympic team in the 400 freestyle. We'll also see her again in the 1500 meter freestyle. This is the final heat of all the circle seated heats in this event. So we had a few questions about what does circle seated heat actually mean. And basically you take the top 24 swimmers from preliminary times, and these can be times done in the last 18 months basically, and you take the top 24 times and then you'll put those in a circle seated pattern. So that way the fastest swimmer is in lane 4, the second fastest is in lane 4 of the prior heat, and then the 3rd fastest swimmer is actually in the 3rd from last heat in that same middle lane. So that way you have like a V formation. That way you always have the fastest swimmer in the middle, and that's different from the first few heats. So if there's 10 heats in the event, the first 7 heats will not be circle seated, and basically you'll have everyone that looks like this. Everyone will be swimming in a line, and you won't have as well of a defined V formation. But in the championships circle seated heats, these are normally the top 3, the last 3 heats. These are the fastest swimmers, and we'll see them with a clear leader in the front, and that is lane 4. Right now, we see Katie Ledecky, who is just starting to squeak ahead of everyone. She's getting a little bit of pressure up there 2 lanes above her. Not sure who that swimmer is, but it looks like everyone's still bunched up together, and we'll see what swimmer makes their move on the second 100. And they turn, and it is Husk, Tori Husk. She's a 57.26. We saw her go 55 and break the American record, almost the world record in the 100-meter butterfly. But it looks like heat number 7 of the preliminaries is pretty darn close, maybe a little bit too close for comfort. You know, these ladies know that they don't need to spend all their gas in the tank here in the prelim because you have a semifinal coming up tonight. Some of these top swimmers may actually decide to scratch just because if they're really only going for this event in the relay, but they have a number of other individual events. We know Katie Ledecky, who's currently in the lead right now, wants to swim this event, the 400, the 800, and the 1500 as individual events. Looks like Tori Husk is right there with her. She's looking pretty good. Is she going to fall? She's falling off. Here comes Katie Ledecky. Katie Ledecky is going to win this, no problem. There we go. Yeah. That was easy. 157.58. That's Katie Ledecky. She came back in a 29.89. Very casual swim. She's got to go cool down and get ready for the 1500-meter freestyle. Oh, boy. That's a fun lineup. Can you imagine doing the 400 freestyle twice in one day, and then the next day you have to do the 200 freestyle twice and the 1500 in competition? I think Rowdy Gaines added up. It's like 60,000 meters of actual competition between all of the races and cooldowns and everything. So you're basically doing like 30 miles between everything. So imagine doing 30 miles in 1 week of competition. That's like peak training for most people. So just imagine. And there's the start list. Leah Smith has the fastest time out of the preliminaries with a 157.52. Right there with Katie Ledecky, Allison Schmidt, a number of top 157s. And to make it into the top 16, it took a 2-minute.03. Realistically, the top 4 will make the Olympic team in the 4x200 freestyle relay, but then it really comes down to who could be a potential alternate or prelim swimmer at the Olympics, and that way top 6 will actually go on to make it. We'll see how that shakes out. And then after the women's 200 freestyle, we had the preliminaries of the men's 200 butterfly. Now, what's really interesting about the men's 200 butterfly is this is the first Olympics and the first Olympic trials without Michael Phelps in about 20 years. That sounds kind of ridiculous if you think about it. So for the last 2 decades, so most of you watching this stream may not have even been born yet, or you were a child when Michael Phelps made his first Olympic team in the year 2000. He represented the United States of America in 2000. His first event was a 200-meter butterfly, and since 2004, 8, 12, and 16, Michael Phelps won this event at the Olympic trials, and then he won at the Olympic Games almost every single time. So now Michael Phelps is here in the spectator crowd. He's not competing, but we get to see him in the stands cheering on the individual who will continue his legacy in this event. And so to say that there's not much pressure is an understatement. Whoever ends up swimming this event at the Olympics has big shoes to fill. Michael Phelps has had such an incredible legacy in not only this event, but the sport of swimming. Here we have top heat, I believe, top last two heats in the men's 200 butterfly. 200 fly is a tough event. Just because it's a tough event doesn't mean you get off the hook with prelims, semifinals, and finals. That's why it's really important to conserve energy in this event, because if you go out too fast here or you back half it too much, you're not going to have enough energy for the semifinal and the final, which it just sounds painful to think about doing 3 200 butterflies long course within 2 days and to be competitive at them. Even for these top athletes that are world class and they have incredible conditioning, a 200 fly is very difficult. This is not easy doing a 200 butterfly. It's still a lot of work. They make it look easy. They're graceful, but if you see them come out of the water, you hear them in the interview, they are gassed. And so it's really important to conserve energy all the way through these preliminaries, semifinals, and finals. Let's see who touches first here at the wall. It's a 54.61. If you guys are interested, the world record split, 52.88, Christoph Milak. If you guys haven't seen the Whiteboard Wednesday session I did on Christoph Milak going that world record time, I did a full analysis on him, and make sure you guys check that out. Right here in the middle of the pool, looking very strong. Michael Phelps has the American record, the U.S. Open record, and the championship record. Back in Omaha in 2008 at the Olympic trials, he went a 152.20. Very, very fast. Now, his world record, he set the year after in Rome at the World Championships. He went a 151.51. I don't think we're going to see any American come close to that here at the trials. Maybe we'll see something special at the Olympics. I think the world record is in jeopardy at the Olympic Games because we have a young Christoph Milak of Hungary who is very, very hungry to improve upon his own world record. As you can see the time, 155.34. Just to give you guys an idea, that is almost 5 seconds slower than the world record. That and Zach Harding right there put together an incredible performance. I mean, for a prelim swim, I don't know why they're showing him on the camera. He's not Zach Harding. He's not the guy who won. He got second. It's a good swim, though. There he is in the white cap. If you recognize that name, Zach Harding, he actually joined us for Swimming Jeopardy at the World Swim Gala. He's a big Batman fan. Shout out to Zach Harding. Great preliminary swim. He will move on easily into the semifinal. Remember, top 16 make the semifinal. And it looks like in that heat, we saw the spread from 155 down to 202. I think it's realistically going to be around 157, 158 to get into the top 16 into that semifinal. Let's go ahead and look at the last heat of the men's 200-meter butterfly. Remember, this is Michael Phelps's baby. This is his event. So it's sort of awkward, I guess, to not have him in this event because any other season, any other year in the last 2 decades, it would be a given that Michael Phelps is going to win this event. He first made the team in 2000 at 15 years young of age. He was a boy. He was a boy swimming amongst men, and he he was, I think, one of the youngest people to ever break the world record as a man, boy turning into a man, in the 200 butterfly. Absolutely nuts. And then in 2004, he won the Olympic trials and the Olympic Games in the 200-meter butterfly. He was 5th in the year 2000. And, a lot of the swimmers in this heat, I'm just looking at, what years they were born. They were born between 1996, 1995, 2002, 1998. So a lot of these swimmers were, small children or not even born yet when Michael Phelps first made the Olympic team in the year 2000. So it's pretty surreal to think about that. And Michael Phelps isn't even that old. He's 35, 36 years old, I believe, or turning 36 very soon. So to have 20 years of dominance, he became very, very competitive at the age of 11, 12 years old, got very, very serious, and really built a legacy for the 200-meter butterfly, all the events he swam, and the sport of swimming. Prior to Michael Phelps, this event wasn't even televised It wasn't even on TV. You couldn't watch the Olympic trials on TV. And then when Michael Phelps started swimming, he helped put the sport of swimming into the spotlight. And now we can have incredible programming. There's advertising dollars, there's professional swimming, and he really helped accelerate a lot of these things in the sport of swimming. And it was him and a number of others, not just Michael Phelps, but he really was the catalyst. And the winning time here, 156.64. In the prior heat, we saw Zach Harding establish the fastest time of the morning at a 155.34. Remember, top 16 get into one of two semifinals tonight. The final is tomorrow. Now, I was actually at the Olympic trials in 2016 watching Michael Phelps qualify. It was pretty incredible. He has such professionalism behind the diving blocks, so much intensity, and I can only imagine some of these guys actually got to compete with Michael Phelps prior to him retiring in 2016. Our number one qualifier is Zach Harding out of the prelims. He was in that A final with Michael Phelps in 2016. He actually came out of the ready room as a Batman. He literally was wearing the Batman costume. Pretty crazy. And Jack Conger rounds out the field, 158.37. Those are the top 16 qualifiers in the men's 200-meter butterfly. Very, very excited for that race. I think anyone can make the team. You got to get through the semifinal, you got to get into the final, but I think that's an event that now is sort of wide open now that Michael Phelps has stepped out of the picture. And I know we talk about Michael Phelps a lot, and his name comes up so often at this elite level of swimming, and it's because he has shaped the sport of swimming so much in the last 2 decades, and it all started with the men's 200 butterfly, the first event that he qualified for the Olympic team. He competed in the year 2000 in Sydney, Australia, and then in Athens in 2004 is where he really began his dynasty of where he brought home a lot of medals for the United States of America. How many medals? Let me know how many you think Michael Phelps brought home to the United States in the comments in the live chat. How many medals do you think Michael Phelps brought in? All right, after the men's 200-meter butterfly, we had the women's 200 individual medley. This is a good event. Combination of butterfly, backstroke, breaststroke, and freestyle. You've got to put it all together. Here is heat number 6. Keep an eye on heat number 6 was completed. Kate Douglas was the number 1 time out of heat 6 with a 2:10.53. Let's go ahead and get to the next heat. Heat number 7. Keep an eye on Madison Cox. I had the opportunity to interview Madison Cox and talk about some of the most difficult the most difficult training sessions that she's done. When you train for the 200 IM, the 400 IM, or the 200s of stroke, you go through some ridiculously difficult training. She told me she did a set of 2050s IM order by 5 on the 35. Which is really, really fast. I mean, if you can do 2050s on the 35 of freestyle, good on you. Imagine trying to do those 5 of each stroke. I mean, the breaststroke you have to be a world-class male breaststroker just to be able to make 550s breaststroke on the 35. That's how fast that is. And so, to be able to put that all together in a 200 individual medley is why you have to train so much for the individual medley. Here we are, heat about to start. Keep an eye on Madison Cox. She's going to be fast. It's a 50-meter butterfly, 50-meter backstroke, 50-meter breaststroke, 50-meter freestyle. In this event, just like the other 200s, you've got to be in the top 16 to make it. So that's what all these swimmers are going for. They're trying to get into that top 16. And let's see who it's going to be into the wall first at the 50. It's a 27.99. World record split 27.30. The world record in this event is very, very fast. Katinka Hosu from Hungary, 206.12. She also has the world record in the 400 IM. We'll often see a lot of these swimmers will swim both the 200 IM and the 400 IM. Sometimes we'll see swimmers only do the 200 IM. Other times we'll see swimmers only do the 400 IM. But at the top level in the circle-seated heats, most of the people who are doing the 400 IM will also do the 200 IM. So some of these swimmers will actually be better at the 400 IM, and some of these will be better at the 200 IM than the 400 IM. They might have a stroke specialty, and they'll try and use that to their advantage. Fly back breast free, Maybe they're a strong breaststroker and they'll try and make their move. The thing is, at this level, you can't have a bad stroke. You have to be good at every single stroke, because if you're not at that world-class level, you don't have a shot. The rest of the field will simply pull away from you in that particular leg that you're not strong at. And look at that extension, leading into a body length lead into the 150 with just 50 meters to go. Turning at a 139.37, Madison Cox has asserted herself with a full body length lead. There we go. Full body length lead. On the breaststroke, she split a 37.71. How about Megan Small with a 36.5 breaststroke split? Getting a little bit of pressure in there for second. But remember, top 16 qualify. They got to do this all over again in the semifinal tonight. Looking really smooth out in front. She knows where she is. She just needs to hit the wall first. Can kind of let off the gas pedal, let off the legs a little bit at the end. She goes a 2:10.64. Now, her best time is faster than that, but that's pretty good for a preliminary swim. Get the cobwebs out. She looks controlled. She looks happy. I don't know if she looks happy. She might be tired. So earlier in the live, I asked you guys how many medals Michael Phelps has at the Olympic Games. The correct answer was 28 medals. 28 medals. The next question is, how many gold medals did Michael Phelps have? The correct answer to that, 23. So he competed in the 2000 Olympics, didn't win any medals. 2004, 2008, 2012, and 2016. In total, 28 Olympic medals. 23 of them gold. And there is the start list for the semifinal. Kate Douglas with the number one time, 2:10.53. And it looks like to get into the top 16 semifinal, it's a 2:14.72. I think it's going to take under 2:10 to make the Olympic team, maybe even 2:08. So a lot of those swimmers in the low 2:10, 2:12, 2:14, that's not going to cut it. So hopefully tonight we see some faster times in the semifinal. And as we head into the final, which will be tomorrow night, because they have a delay in a day. So you do the prelims in the morning, semifinals at night, and then you move into the rest. I want to go ahead and get right into the current live right now, because I just realized you guys can't see what I'm seeing, so we should probably fix that, right? Let's go ahead and see. This is a little bit of a live of the women's 1500. Twitchell has the lead right now. And now the 1500 meter freestyle is a tough event. It is grueling because you've got to do it more than once. You don't just swim it one and done. Oh boy, that would be the dream. But that's not how it works. So you got to make sure you are ready to compete at the highest level all the way through that 1500. Let's go ahead and field some questions here. I see a lot of questions in the live chat. Let me go ahead and answer them. 23. PD's stroke rate is insane. Yeah, so quick recap for everyone who just joined. This is the U.S. Olympic trials in Omaha, Nebraska. Wave number 2, the top athletes in the United States are trying to make the Olympic team. Just because you competed in the Olympics in 2016 or you have the fastest time in the United States doesn't mean anything at this competition. You have to be in the top 2 and meet the Olympic A qualifying time to actually go on and compete in the Olympic Games. The Olympic Games starts July 24th. The opening ceremony is July 23rd in Tokyo, Japan. And if you want to have a chance to compete, you've got to qualify through a preliminary, semifinal, top 16, and then top 8 from the semifinal move on to the final. And then in the 50 free, 400 free, and 800 free, top 2 make the team. And then in the 100 freestyle and 200 freestyle for both men and women, the top 4 automatically make it to swim on the relay, and then there's a good likelihood that the top 6 will actually go on to qualify as well. Now, it's not a guarantee. This was another question that we saw in the live stream, because what if too many swimmers actually end up qualifying, like one swimmer per individual event? So there's a cap on the number of athletes that each country can take per sport. In swimming, it's 26 men and 26 women. So if you have one athlete qualify in each event, and it's a different athlete qualifying in each event, and you don't have athletes like Michael Phelps did where he swam 6 events or 8 events all at once, then you can actually run out of spots on the roster. And that's why only the number 1 swimmer, assuming they have the A cut, is an automatic qualifier in the Olympics. So it's not good enough to just win. You have to meet the A standard. And even if you get second, it's not an automatic because they will go through and make the all-around selections from the number one qualifier and then the top 4 in each event, like the 100 free and the 200 free, to represent the country on the relay. Then, once all of those positions have been selected, then you go back through and you can add in the additional people. So you can add the second swimmer, which in the 100 breaststroke last night, we saw Michael Andrew qualify in the number 1 spot. He was automatic in making the team. And then most likely Andrew Wilson will also qualify for the Olympic team. He was second, but it's not an automatic, and that's why you might not see the Olympic rings by their name in that qualification. So just wanted to clarify some of those things because I know it's a little confusing. Another question that we had is, what does it mean to scratch? This is a really common occurrence in elite competitive swimming, actually swimming at every level in competition. So let's say you have 100 qualifiers in an event, in the psych sheet, in the heat sheet. And we saw this with Caleb Dressel the other day. He swam the 200-meter freestyle in the prelims. He qualified to be in the semifinal, and then he scratched out of that semifinal, meaning he withdrew himself from the competition. The athletes normally work with the coach. They'll tell the coach, you know what, we've decided we're not going to do this particular event. We're going to focus on other events in the competition. And you have a time window where you're allowed to actually scratch yourself. Normally it's 30 minutes after the completion of the event. So the men's 200 freestyle took place. Caleb Dressel decided, you know what, I'm happy with the time. I don't want to swim this event again. And him and his coach decide within that 30-minute window, we are going to scratch out of this event and we're going to withdraw our name, and that pushes up all the other athletes behind him. So someone else gets knocked into the semifinal 1, semifinal 2, and then we have new alternates. And so there's a time frame for that, which is normally 30 minutes. So that way it's not very confusing the day of and someone all of a sudden decides, oh, you know what, I'm not going to show up for this event. Let the alternate come in and join us. So there's a 30-minute window for that to happen, and then that allows you to focus on other events. If you do not scratch out of your event, you are actually disqualified from the rest of the competition. A lot of people don't know that. That's why scratching out of your event within that 30-minute window is very, very important. Otherwise, you have to show up and actually swim the event. You can't just decide, you know what, I'm not gonna show up for this event and forget about it. We're gonna let someone else swim. That's not how it works. So if you want to be able to compete in your other events in the program, you have to declare your intention to scratch within 30 minutes after the conclusion of the final results posted for that particular event. And if you guys are looking to take your swimming to the next level, if you guys want to train and follow structured workouts, and you like this type of explanation and advice, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. I'll be doing a race-by-race recap and analysis. I'll also have a pre-show before tonight's final session. So we had some semifinals from yesterday that will be competing. I'm really excited about the women's 100 breaststroke. It's going to be tonight. The semifinal was yesterday. So if you guys want to join me for the pre-show, we'll be doing that at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time Standard, 30 minutes before the start of the competition. You can follow that on YouTube, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter as well. That's what we're broadcasting to. And of course, hit that notification bell so you are notified of what's coming up. And if you want to take your swimming to the next level, we have a special promo code in the MySwimPro app if you want structured workouts, if you want instructional technique videos, if you want a swim log, a digital swim log, sync your workouts to your smartwatch, whether it's your Apple Watch or your Garmin. You want to see your heart rate data over time. You want to be able to measure your progress, see your improvement. Make sure you use the MySwimPro app. We have a 30% off promo code that is expiring at the end of the Olympic trials. The promo code is right there, called Trials 2021. You can use that on our website. Hit us with a DM, and make sure you're following MySwimPro on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and of course YouTube, so you can get the latest on everything happening in the world of swimming. Feel free to give me a follow on social media. I will be at the U.S. Olympic Trials in Omaha, Nebraska, literally giving you guys a behind-the-scenes look at what it's like to be in the venue, around the venue, in the Aqua Lounge, and all those different areas. So make sure you give me a follow. I'll give you a behind-the-scenes look at all of that action in Omaha, Nebraska. I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. I want to see you guys all of you, everyone who's on the stream right now, make sure you hit the like button. And I want to see you at the pre-show in about, let's see here, 6 hours from now. And I can't wait to talk swimming with everyone. Have a great day.